Breaking news out of Houston. Fred VanVleet has torn his ACL and this could change everything for the Rockets. This could have a huge impact on his season and his team's future. Let's talk about what happened and what it means moving forward.
So losing Fred VanVleet for the Houston Rockets is a devastating loss for Houston fans in general, as one of the positions the Rockets were lacking in depth is the point guard position. And now with Fred VanVleet being down, they have to rely on second-year player Reed Shepherd, as well as Aaron Holiday.
He's one of the leaders of the Rockets. He brings, experience, playmaking, and defense. Losing him will take a lot of stability. You will lose a lot of stability in the backcourt when you lose him. So that's definitely a big shot to the Rockets.
Yeah, no, especially because he was like one of the more emotional leaders of the group. Like he would get texts for them. He would run around he would talk to the officials in behalf of his teammates and stuff. So now that they lost that veteran presence and that emotional leader of the group, they're gonna need to find somebody else to step up. But I don't really see KD being that leader, because he's always had that issue with the teams he's played for. So it's going to be interesting to see who steps up and who becomes that leader.
This puts more responsibility
on the young players, and that's also another thing Fred was very impactful in, giving young players the confidence, like Elfan Sengun, Jalen Green, and all those players, just to shoot the ball or do whatever they have to. And without that on the court every night, it might be hard for the young players to be as successful as they were last season.
It always feels like a Kevin Durant team. Something's always going wrong with the KD. I feel like a lot of people don't understand or don't think that Fred VanVleet is they don't understand how important he is to the Rockets. If you're not a true Rockets fan or you don't really watch a lot of basketball, people might not see the value in VanVleet. A lot of people say he's very overpaid for the player he is, which could be true. I think he might be the only starting point guard to play 30 minutes, and his field goal percentage is under 40%. So he's definitely not the most efficient player, and you could say he's overpaid, but I don't think people really understand his value that he brings. Even especially in the playoffs against the Warriors, I feel like a lot of people may have forgotten his last few games. He single-handedly kept the Rockets in the game. He had a few games where he dropped
several threes.
Yeah, I'm looking at the game log right now. He had a game in Game 5. He went 8 for 12 from 3, 4 for 6, 6 for 9, and 3 for 6. Those are his last 4 games. So he's definitely a critical factor and the reason why they even made the playoffs last season and pushed it to Game 7.
Yeah, especially I feel like people forget that he won a chip with Toronto. He brings that championship pedigree with him.
For VanVleet, this probably means that he's likely out for the whole season.
Yeah.
The big question is who will step up. I think this just puts a lot more responsibility on the young guys, especially rookies and rising players like Reed Shepherd, their rotations, and possibly look at trades or maybe signing somebody else to fill the gap.
Yeah, with the injury just being so fresh, I think the person that everyone is looking at now is probably Amen Thompson to really take that next level, because he's most likely going to slot in as a starting point guard, I assume, next season, right? Would you guys agree? It will probably be him.
I would probably say give the nod to Reed Shepherd, because in the beginning of the season, that's the time you have to test things out and see what works and what doesn't. So if you
start Reed and Amen together is what you're saying.
Yeah, because Fred and Amen played together all season pretty much. So Amen could figure out his role no matter what. I have no doubt in that. But with Reed, give him the spot. Throw him into the deep end, see how he reacts, see how he plays. Because he's had one season, he got acquainted with the team and everything, and he had one off season to work on his game and figure out what he could improve on. And I feel like if you just throw him in the deep end, he'll either survive or who knows what will happen. But I feel like giving him that opportunity is the best thing the Rockets can do, because we all know they don't have any money to give to any other players unless you want to sign a vet minimum in someone like Russell Westbrook or Ben Simmons. But at the end of the day, I don't think either of them would help the team as much as people think they would. I think it would be better to just let Reed Shepherd throw him into the deep end and let him figure it out.
So would you guys say the starting lineup should be Reed Shepherd, Amen Thompson, KD, Jabari Smith, and Sengun. You guys think that?
Yes, I believe there will be several rotations throughout the year, so
But as like
that
the
may be
main
how it
rotation, like
starts.
if
Yeah.
just thinking about the point guard position itself, like you guys expect Reed Shepherd to like basically start 82 games next season, basically.
You have Steven Adams and Sengun who loves playing together, and Imi Udoka loved putting that lineup out there, especially during the playoffs last year. So them two,
Yeah, against the
Steven
small
Adams just can't
Warriors,
shoot. Yeah,
no center having Warriors.
Yeah, that would
Draymond.
be a big, that would be a big hit to the Rockets. Obviously, if Reed Shepherd underperforms, the Rockets, they would have to lean on more on the other players like Jalen. Nah, oh my god. But the other question is, they might have to explore adding a veteran guard through free agency or trade.
So do
But
you
most
guys
likely,
expect a trade coming? Like you guys
I
expect
believe
like
Houston
something?
will probably just let it play out with Reed Shepherd,
Yeah,
playing through his mistakes and use this season as like a developmental year for him.
right.
yeah, but I don't think they could do that though, because you gotta think about it. KD's getting up there in age. Yeah, they have a great young core in Amen Thompson, Sengun, and whatnot, but KD's getting up there in age. Obviously, Fred VanVleet, when he comes back next season, he's going to be older too. So it's going to be hard to compete with a young team like the Thunder or maybe the Spurs in a couple of years or whatnot. But I don't think KD has that luxury of.
Yeah. So the Rockets this season, they have the expectations either championship or bust. And now with this Fred VanVleet injury, do you guys think it's completely over?
It's a major setback for sure. Obviously, in the Western Conference, the Rockets will probably slide down a bunch of tiers. Instead of fighting for a solid playoff spot, they're more likely going to be in the play-in mix probably. You know, losing their veteran floor general makes it, you know, a lot tougher for Houston to keep up.
So would you
So
say
I
they
think they're
don't?
a
Yeah.
play-in at max.
I completely disagree. I think they'll still be a top 3-4 seed because you gotta, at the end of the day, you gotta remember that they still have KD, they still have Amen Thompson, they have a bunch of defensive wings who can compete with the best of them, and their lineup is so interchangeable that I don't see them falling too far below the second seed which they had last year, even though Fred is gone, because Reed Shepherd will take the helm, and I feel like he will do a very good job. Not as good as Fred, obviously, but he will keep the team afloat, and they will definitely be a top 5 team in the West for sure.
So this really doesn't change much. I don't know why people are treating Fred VanVleet like he's Luka Doncic, right? He's a good player, but at best he's the fourth best player on the Rockets, right? Alperen Sengun's better, Kevin Durant's better, Amen Thompson's gonna be better this season. You could argue there's a couple other players on the team who probably have a bigger role and will be more important to the team. Yes, it's a tough loss, but we've seen it multiple times where, you know, losing someone is actually an addition for a team, right? You have players like Jabari ready to take a step, Reed Shepherd's ready to take a step, Amen Thompson's definitely ready to take a step. And I don't really think changes much. Yes, it does make their hopes worse, but overall, in the grand scheme of things, I think they're still going to be one of the top teams in the West. And even at the beginning, if you had them over a team like the Nuggets or the Thunder, you're tripping.
I don't think the Rockets are contenders anymore. I still think they're going to be a top 6 team in the West, but I don't think they'll be able to beat OKC, Denver, teams like that. I just don't think they'll have a chance, and I think it's just a tough loss for the Rockets.
So Fred VanVleet's injury is a major setback, but it also means the door for younger players to step up. What do you think this means for the Rockets this season? Let me know in the comments.